welcome to episode number 2 of Creative Adventures around Looe Island Project update. So I was trying to think, what have I been up to since I saw you last? And my first thought was, well, not a lot really. But then I started to write everything down and ended up with quite a long list. Quite a long list indeed. 2 pages. But some of that, well, probably quite a lot of it, doesn't relate directly to the Islands project. I've been out and about quite a lot this month, and our little dog had to have a little operation. She's fine. She had to have some fat lumps removed. But that meant we had to jig things around about how we were looking after her. My sister came to stay, which is really good fun. Went to TedEx Bath, which was fascinating. And I will share a bit more about those in my newsletter. I think that's probably the best way to go into those details. And back to the islands update. Okay, so I have been working on the little, what's it called? The mermaid for the quilt. And this is where I've got to. I have finished embroidering my test piece. So I've done a black outline now. I've sewn her onto the test of the fabric to see what shows up. I added the black outline because at first she didn't have a black outline, but I think that looks better. Her eyelids are removable. Her eyes look a bit evil, but that means I can animate her eyes, although I quite like the eyelids closed, so we'll see how that works when I start doing the animation for that. And then I was thinking about the wording, the text. What wording am I going to have on the quilt? How is that going to flow around with the story? And I realised that I'd originally been thinking about doing embroidered letters. Then I was thinking about cutting out felt and doing felt letters. And because I'd thought there was going to be quite a lot of words, that suddenly became a massive amount of work. And I had to rethink, is that really what I want to do? Is that really the best way of exploring and sharing the story that I'm going to be animating? And I also made the decision that the quilt is going to be something that's going to be put up on display, so it's not necessarily something that's going to be left on the bed that's going to need a lot of regular washing. So that freed up some of the decisions I'd been considering. So the other thing about this little piece, one of the other things I did the past month was I went to World Textiles Day at Salford Hall near Keynsham, and that was great. It was really interesting, and there was a couple of different textile speakers, and one of the artists who shared her work and gave a talk was Janice. I will include links to her Instagram and website in the comments below. And she creates some amazing quilts, and her thing is really about dyeing, so dyeing fabrics. So she was talking about the dyeing fabrics. But one of the things that I noticed and I took away that I then had to go at for my own quilt was her edging. So on this one you can see there's just a little simple zigzag stitch around the edge rather than using bias binding, and I really liked that on her quilts that she shared. And I've included a little some pictures of her work, so that was something that I thought, oh, I really like that, I'm going to try that on my edging. But I might still use bias binding on the larger size quilt when I come to do that. Back to the wording. So I was thinking, what can I do instead if I'm not going to have embroidered letters, or I'm going to cut felt out and embroider the felt on. I suddenly realised I had some little rubber letter stamps. I've been trying to think about a way of putting text, and I suddenly thought, I know, I could try using my stamps, and I've got some ink for fabric. And that's how it's come out, and I like that, and I think that's going to work. Yes. So I had to go with printing some letters, and I thought actually that is the right size, because the other challenge I had was the letters that I was thinking about cutting out were too big. They were going to be massive. So this is going to work. So I'm going to use this as my the text that I'm going to put onto the quilt. And because I've decided that it's going to be a quilt that's going to be displayed, and its main objective really is to be filmed and animated, the story, that's okay if the text is going to be printed on, and it's the right size then for filming it. So I feel like I'm probably overcomplicating things a bit, but it's kind of how my brain works. So that's where I'm with those things. And then I realised I'd been thinking a lot about the sewing and the characters and how I was going to animate them, and I'd kind of forgotten about the actual story that I was animating. So I've had to backtrack, and I've been looking at or thinking about the actual script for the story. There's so much that I want to include about Looe Island that I've been struggling with getting that down to something that is a simpler and a simpler story. So that's what I'm currently working on. What I'm going to do next, because I've got a little bit stuck with this, I'm going to do a mind map and put all of the things I would like to include in the story, because at the moment they're all written in all different places. Put that on the mind map, and then I can figure out what bits are really important. So that's what I'm going to be working on, or that is what I'm working on at the moment. And I will keep you updated, and hopefully when I see you next time I will have sorted out the script, and then I'm back on the making to actually create the animations and to create the film. Cool. Okay, I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.